The snow clawed at Amara's cheeks like a living thing, needles of ice stinging her mocha-brown skin as she pressed her baby closer to her chest. The infant, only 2 months old, gave a thin, hungry cry, a sound so small it nearly vanished beneath the December wind. Amara couldn't blame her daughter. She too was starving. Not just for bread or a bed, but for one person, any person, who would look at her with something other than disgust. She hadn't always been alone. Yesterday, was it really only yesterday? She had stood in the doorway of her father's cabin, an empty valise at her feet, begging, "Papa, please, the baby is innocent." Her father, jaw set like granite, his voice rough as gravel, glared at her. "She's a stain and you—" He jabbed a calloused finger at her scarf-wrapped head. "Are the one who dragged that stain into my house." She tried again, voice trembling. "I'll work. But he cut her off. "Out." The door slammed with a finality that cracked her heart in two. 25 years of memories, Christmas hymns, warm biscuits, lessons in scripture, snuffed out like a candle in the wind. She walked all night, her worn shoes filling with snow, until a crooked sign appeared through the dawn haze. Mercy, population 812. The irony of the name made her laugh bitterly. Mercy had iron roofs and iron hearts to match. Paint-peeled storefronts huddled around a frozen well. A silent main street divided by wagon ruts led to the one building spilling yellow light and the sour smell of whiskey, Stabler's Inn and public house. Inside, she found the proprietor, Elijah Stabler, thick-necked and heavy-jowled with eyes sharp as a wolf's teeth, leaning against the bar. She asked for a bowl of stew. "Sir, I can't pay, but I can scrub floors, wash linens." Stabler's mouth twisted in a knowing smile. "Floors don't fill ledgers, girl. What else you got?" She glanced at her swaddled child, then back at him, shame thick as tar in her throat. "Anything you ask," she whispered. A hard bargain was struck. 1 night's room, 1 bowl of rabbit and potatoes, in exchange for her body. Once the baby was asleep and the bar closed. She nodded, wordless. Survival had lowered the price of her dignity to a single meal. Stabler's room upstairs smelled of sweat and whiskey. He didn't look at her face, only at her scarf-covered hair. When it was done, he left her alone with her tears. She lay awake, her daughter's small chest rising and falling beside her, the wind rattling the window. She thought of her mother, long dead, and how she'd taught her that faith could move mountains. But in Mercy, faith seemed a luxury she couldn't afford. At dawn, Stabler roused her with a boot to the door. "Out," he growled. "Debt's paid." She stumbled into the morning, clutching her child. The sun was only a rumor on the horizon, a pink promise that felt like a lie. Samuel Hart was hitching his horse outside Stabler's. 6'3", with a broad back and slate-grey eyes, he was a man carved from the land itself. Stoic, steady. But inside those eyes lived a sorrow he carried like a brand. A fever summer 3 years past had stolen both his wife, Sarah, and their unborn son. He noticed Amara as she fumbled with her shawl, the baby fussing. Something in her posture, her chin high despite the cold, the defiance in the angle of her shoulders, stopped him. He set down the crate of eggs he'd brought to trade and approached. "You've got nowhere to go," he said, his voice low but not unkind. She flinched, expecting cruelty. "You're perceptive, sir," she replied, her voice dry as dust. He shifted his weight, studying her face. "I've a room above my barn. It's warmer than these streets. I'll trade you shelter for honest work, cooking, laundry, whatever you can manage." She hesitated. "And the cost after dark?" she asked, eyes wary. Samuel's jaw tightened. "Not for sale, ma'am, I give my word." Her lips parted as if she might refuse, but the cold bit deeper than her pride. "Then my daughter and I accept," she whispered. Hart's ranch, Hartstead, sat 2 miles north of town, a patchwork of pine and pasture land stitched together by fences that leaned in the wind. 3 weathered buildings, main house, barn, blacksmith shed, stood like sentinels against the sky. Smoke curled from the chimney. Somewhere inside, a clock ticked in a steady rhythm. That first morning, Amara woke to the smell of coffee and griddle cakes. Hart had left a note on the table in a hand both firm and gentle. Eat first. Chores after. You are not a servant. You're a guest who helps. S.H. Tears blurred the words as she buttered a cake for her daughter's makeshift feeding bottle, fashioned from old linen and a pewter spoon. Life at Hartstead was hard but honest. She rose at dawn to muck stalls, gather eggs, chop wood. Samuel worked beside her, silent, focused. When her scarf slipped one day, revealing the halo of curls she usually kept hidden, he didn't stare or comment. Instead, he handed her a wool cap, the same one he'd worn last winter. She thanked him quietly. At night, they shared the kitchen table, her sewing small repairs, him oiling tack or whittling a toy for Haven. One evening, the quiet grew too thick, and Samuel cleared his throat. Hartstead used to ring with music. Sarah played the fiddle. Amara paused, looking up from her mending. I sang spirituals in church once, she said, her voice soft. He looked surprised, then smiled, a small, real smile. Maybe this house could stand some music again. She ducked her head, hiding a smile of her own. But Mercy's mercy ran thin. It started with whispers at the mercantile. That colored girl's sharing a roof with Sam Hart. Widower or not, he ought to have standards. Then came the stone, hurled through their window while they supped. It landed in her stew, splattering glass across the baby's cradle. In charcoal letters on the stone's face, sinners, leave. Samuel stood, jaw clenched. He picked up the stone, glass crunching under his boots. I'll find the one who threw this, he said. Amara met his eyes. It's not just one, Sam. It's all of them. He nodded once, slow and heavy. Then let 'em come to me next time. But the worst came later. A rider appeared at Hartstead, a shadow against the snow. Amara's breath caught as her father, Silas Green, dismounted. His face was the same, hard lines, cracked lips. But the eyes had aged, dulled by something she couldn't name. I'm here for my granddaughter, he said. She squared her shoulders, her baby asleep against her chest. You left us to freeze, she replied, his mouth twisted. Your sin can't damn the child. She belongs with family. Samuel stepped beside her. Family shelters, not abandons, he said. Haven stays here. Silas spat in the snow. When a white widower keeps a colored girl, folk expect sin. The words hung like smoke between them. Samuel's eyes narrowed. Leave my land, he said. Silas stared long and hard at Amara, then turned and rode back the way he'd come. 2 nights later, the barn burned. Flames lit the snow in a sickening orange glow. Samuel woke to the smell of smoke, Amara's scream piercing the night as she grabbed Haven from the cradle. Samuel fought the flames alone at first, water buckets and desperation his only allies. Neighbors came too late. The barn collapsed, the animals driven out just in time. The next morning, in the ashes, Samuel found a half-burned Bible with Silas's name inside the cover. Amara crumpled to her knees. He would have killed us, she sobbed. Samuel knelt beside her, gathering her into his arms. We rebuild, he said. Together. She clutched his shirt. I don't know how to thank you. He leaned his forehead against hers. Then don't. Just stand with me. They did. Spring came with its cold rains and the smell of wet pine. Half the town showed at Hartstead to raise a new barn, some from guilt, some from curiosity, some from honest compassion. Hammers rang like church bells. Haven's laughter mixed with the rhythm. Samuel found Sarah's old fiddle in the attic, wiped the dust away, and began to play. One night, Amara sang beside him, a soft hymn of hope. Neighbors lingered by the fence lines, listening. One evening, after the music faded, Samuel turned to her. Hartstead was named for heart and stead, steadfast. I wasn't after Sarah. I drifted, Amara touched his hand. And now? He turned his palm up to cradle hers. Now I'm standing. He didn't offer a ring. He couldn't afford one. But he pressed a small wooden locket into her palm, carved into the shape of a little house. Inside, 2 words, haven and hope. He met her eyes. "Will you make this your home? Will you marry me?" Amara's tears shone like stars. "Home is wherever you two are," she whispered. "Yes." In Mercy, some say things changed that spring. The schoolhouse opened its doors to every child, no matter the color of their skin. A new innkeeper replaced Stabler, one who offered warm meals without a price on a woman's body. And every December, when the snow began to fall, folks remembered the night fire tried to drive a family away and failed. Amara sometimes stood on the porch at dusk, Haven in her arms, listening to the wind carry laughter from the barn. Samuel's fiddle played a gentle melody that rose above the memories of pain, carrying her forward. Dignity, once sold, could still be bought back with courage. And here, in the heart of Mercy, she found a home worth fighting for.